All right, so for this video, I wanted to talk about basically like the Archons again, basically, and I think the title of this video is going to be the Archons are more scared of you than you're scared of them, right? Let that sink in for a second, right? Because and this is true, these entities that are operating in the unseen, these entities that are trying to sort of run this soul mill, soul trap, they're actually more scared of you than you're scared of them. And this is and every because I mean, if you think about it, like every movement of this cabal, every movement of these entities, even in like near death experiences, where like they try to deceive with the tunnel of light, they try to deceive with the life review and everything else, right? Like it's very roundabout, and it shows how little power they really have. And it's almost like every time a person dies and they leave their body, it's almost like the way they treat the people who leave their bodies, it's almost like they treat them sort of like a wild animal. It's like they try to keep their distance almost. And it's the same thing where it's like if you're in a zoo, like the zookeepers are afraid of the gorillas, they're afraid of the lions because they know the lions and the gorillas are stronger than the zookeepers. And it's the same thing here, right? Like we're stronger than like the handlers, like with the archons. We're actually stronger than them. It's just we just don't know it. And so this is like a really important subject, which is that we're not locked in here with them; they're locked in here with us. And that mentality is going to be super important if you want to escape the soul trap, if you want to fight the soul trap. Is that you have to, and this is like related to another video I did, which is it's like the Wizard of Oz, seeing the man behind the curtain, and and basically, and to realize that like the Wizard of Oz is actually this guy chattering his teeth behind the scenes. Like that's the real nature of the like what does the devil look like? The devil's a scared little bitch. He's not a big monster with big horns. It's fear. Because that's they're operating from a fear-based state of consciousness because they're afraid of dying, they're not connected with essence, so they have to feed off of other entities that are connected with essence, that do have a divine spark, because they don't. And they're constantly afraid of being exposed. They're constantly afraid of dying and not getting enough loosh, right? They're constantly, and so you have to realize that, like, and on top of that, you have our spiritual capability, our spiritual power, the power of our imagination, our willpower, our intentionality, our creative power is something that they just don't have. And so you have to realize that these entities are actually way more, in the same way that I use the zookeeper analogy, but it's also like if you look at like a scary animal, right, in the wild, right, like it's almost like, oh, but like those animals are more scared of you than you're scared of them, which it looks weird at first. I'm like, oh, but if that animal's like super scary, and like the big teeth and they're snarling at me, but like this is the same thing with like the archons, right? And I go back to the analogy of a cobra's hood, right? If you look at the reptilian aspect of this, right, like a cobra or like spreads its hood when it's afraid to make itself look bigger than it really is, right? Because and that's a fear response, right? And it's the same thing with like peacock. Well, peacock feathers is more of like a mating thing in the wild, but like for a cobra's hood, that's a really good analogy of the state of consciousness these entities are operating from. So this is just like a quick little video just saying that that you have to realize that these entities are way more scared of you than you're scared of them. And if you can realize that, if you can sort of internalize that and realize that you're actually the one that they should be afraid of, you're the one that they are afraid of, then you're going to have a much easier time dealing with the soul trap. You're going to have a much easier time escaping the soul trap ultimately whenever you die and whenever you leave the body. So, yeah, that's the video.